Okay, so here is the e-commerce store that we're testing it on. And if I click Command R and refresh the page, in a few seconds, get a pop-up just like that. If you close it, it goes to a fallback step. Try to incentivize them to get back into the funnel. You can close it or click this button to open it and get back to step one. And then if you fill in your information, which I'm gonna do very quickly here. So now if I write out this and I click submit, we've now made it past step one. Now the user would get a unique discount code sent to their email, and we've tracked this entire process. And they could now close this pop-up and there's no more fallback in the bottom left. The campaign is done. And if we refresh now, we should not see the campaign again because we've now technically ended that campaign. I think today would be an awesome day if I could have some sort of flow where you go onto the dashboard, you click create campaign, and you do it from a template. We're gonna have a super basic template that we're not gonna really use in production, but just for now, creating that builder is really one of the core parts of the business as well, because that's where they're gonna, create these campaigns. Think about Webflow, think about Wix, like all these things, like the whole part of the business is really that builder, right? Like that's where you are able to be creative, and that's where you are designing and making these campaigns. So we're not that far away from having something that we can present and start, getting customers with. Today's been a really productive day. I feel like I've made a lot of good progress on the platform. Now I'm working on the actual interface of adding or creating these rules. We're gonna change all of this UI. It's just temporary while I'm, just building it out. Once you click it, it creates a new campaign. So that's what I've created here. But if you go into this view, this is where you start changing the campaign setting. These drop downs are gonna be different depending on the type of rules that you're adding. We have something kind of really basic here now. But yeah, that's what I have so far. And I've had a really good day, really productive day. Yeah, I'm very happy to be here, and I hope we can, build an amazing product and aim for the acquisition. Man, all right. Good morning. I woke up at like 11. I don't know why. Maybe it was the spa yesterday, Time to get the configuration page done. We have a bunch of ands, and we can keep adding more and more. They have the ands, but they also, inside of the ands, can do an or conjunction. Okay, so I finally managed to support OR rule sets within ANDs. The next thing is just adding all of the different inputs necessary to fill in the data for all these different rule types. For geolocation would have a ton of different drop downs, one for city, one for country, one for region. So right here, we have the configuration page where you're going to be configuring the campaign. So for example, start if you are anonymous and your geolocation, which I haven't done this part yet, but your geolocation is, Norway. The triggers is when it should show if they're inactive for more than, for example, 15 seconds on mobile. And the pages targeted is currently all pages. So no matter which page you land on, it's going to activate the campaign. But you could add a page targeting condition. The frequency is how often we should show it. So hopefully now you get like a bit more of a sense of what I mean by it. Like the whole rule conditioning thing is kind of complex, and it works. The rules work. I think so. Last time I checked, it worked. This page is not like 100% finished, but it's to a point where I'm able to like save the data and send it back up. So I'm going to use what I have now. I'm going to start working on the builder, which is another core part of this product. So how much did this guy ask for?
2.5 to 5.5.
He might still say no.
Poppy did SO.
SO is used a lot as well. But it's like
$46.
Yes. The thing is, even if we go out and say, hey, offer this guy 2.5K, there's a chance he just says no and says, hey,
I'll just do an offer of 350 just for the idea. Submit offer.
Yeah, then we can first start, and we can always track him down, and maybe when we build some capital, we go to .io.
Yeah.
Honestly, poppy.so is also fine.
I'm very fine with it.
All right, so we're not buying the domain for 5K. We are buying poppy.so for $40 instead. The designer is going to have a bunch of drag and drop functionalities, which I didn't really intend to be as tricky as it is, but I'm looking at something called D&D Kit. There's a bunch of different sort of drag and drop solutions, but D&D Kit seems to be the most sort of future-proof and with enough documentation to support what I'm trying to do. And I found this GitHub page that says a how-to that I hope is going to help some folks. But then you start scrolling down, like, bro wrote an entire book. Dude, we're trying to add this sort of like functionality where you can drag it in or out. And it looks very simple because it's just like, oh yeah, like just drag it and drop it. But there's so much behind it. You go to GitHub and you find like there's multiple like files and components. There's the tree item and you have that there. That's one component. And then here's kind of the bigger file that handles all of the dragging, and like, bro, like 400 lines of code. But hopefully I get past this reasonably fast. All right, so now I have a very simple example up. If you look at this, we can pull second step up, we can pull second step down, and it updates the data. I have now a fallback step here and normal steps here. If I pull it down here, it moves down. If I take the child and I move it above here, it's now a part of this, but you can see that the parent hasn't changed. The ID of the parent does not equal this. I have to figure that out. Once that's done, essentially it's done. You think something is super easy to do, and it's not. Look at what we have. A structure where I can drag, for example, this one inside of that container. I can move this content container up here and it takes all the children with it. I can move element or this email input inside of this container. Oh, it didn't go inside. I think I have to drag further right. Well, there we go. So now it works. Once you make baby steps, you make progress. I've been putting in the work and now we have steps that can be rearranged and you see that the steps actually rearrange. I can move that back. I can go into email capture, which is the first step right here. And if I click on the title, you'll see that the title is now selected here. And then we're gonna have a bunch of configuration options right here so that you configure this title field. Now I could say, all right, I wanna have the title under the description. And if I drop it, you see how it rearranges and everything is mobile first. So it kind of starts with this size and then it builds it up to bigger sizes. So the changes you make on desktop will override the changes you make on mobile. And it has all the hover states and everything. It has the ability to zoom out, zoom in, move around, and all that stuff. But yeah, there was a lot of work needed in order to get it to where it is now. You probably remember the first version a few days ago where I just couldn't get it to work. I spent multiple days trying to get the whole dragging to work and dropping to work, and finally something that, you know, is a bit more presentable. And now we just have to add configurations and fallback steps and stuff. If you never stop, you can't lose. You cannot lose. We're doing good, man. We're doing good. I'm so excited. I'm gonna go for a run now and then I'll catch you after. All right, brothers and sisters. I'm gonna be chilling here for the next 5 days. Bink didn't kick me out, but his girl from Finland came around and I thought, you know, I wanna give them their alone time. I'm gonna leave for a little bit and we'll reunite, we'll be friends. I think having some alone time, especially for myself as well, and air cooling. Bink's place doesn't have air cooling, which is totally fine. I'm staying there for free, so I can't complain. Honestly, it makes it very convenient because I don't have to go outside to like a cafe or hotel. I can just stay here, 18 degrees Celsius, and I'm just relaxing and working. So my schedule for the next 5 days is just gonna be wake up, go down, have breakfast, coffee, whatever, and then come back up here, pull the Mac out, and just get straight to work because I need this thing to be done. We're only clocking out when the work is done. So that's my motto. Today I've been struggling with an issue where you can drag a container in, but it adds 2 containers instead of 1. And it just takes away from like the productive time because you're not really progressing in the way that you want. Like you're not continuing to add visual progress, right? If no one has fixed it before you, or if you kind of like, there's no easy way to Google it and get around it, or someone gave you a solution, you have to sit there and just thug it out. Like there's no other way. It's one of those things. You just have to sit there and get the work done. And that's one thing I've realized, especially being here the last week. As much as you think you're productive by, you know, going out to cafes and hotels and whatever, unless you sit there and just lock out and don't care about your surroundings, you're not as productive as you would be by just staying in your hotel room, headphones in, noise canceling on, and just grind it out. Of course, you know, get up and do some exercises and whatever, but I love this hotel. It looks amazing. Look at this, by the way. Like that looks like walnut wood and it's really nice. Little room tour, you know, not the biggest room, but I don't really need much. I'm just gonna be laying in the bed and everything is controlled through this. Do not disturb. And then I'm gonna be intimate with the code. All right, so I look like there's been, 1,000 volts struck through my body. Look at my hair, like what's going on? But it's the level of locked in I am right now. The dragging from here onto the canvas was sometimes rendering 4 times. And so all these kind of rendering issues, but I think I've squashed them now. If I click add element up here, it now shows like a little sidebar and we can drag these we're gonna drag it onto the canvas here essentially. And wherever we drop it on the canvas is where we're gonna add it. We might need draft mode so that changes you make are always being saved in case you accidentally refresh the page. I think the worst thing that could happen is if someone is using the platform and they've designed this whole thing and all of a sudden their computer turns off or something and it's just gone. They spent a long time. But yeah, once we have dragging onto the canvas, it's just adding the sidebar for configuring the elements. I'm really excited to see how the sales and the actual business part, goes. because once this is built, it's just like we just gotta get the clients on. Yo, good morning. It's time to wake up and go have some breakfast. I don't know why I'm so tired, bro. Always make your bed in the morning. Most important thing. You think it doesn't matter, but the small wins, they really matter. Trust me. I've been doing a lot of stuff. I've been putting in the work. So now you see that the viewport is actually reflecting that size. Before it wasn't. And whenever I move my cursor above here, you can see that we're actually hovering elements inside of it. If I click, for example, this text, it selects it here and there. And here's where we're going to have all the styles and whatever. If I now click something down in this step, it just changes the entire step to the first one. And it makes no sense why this would happen. And I've been looking through the code quite a bit, trying to figure out like what could possibly make this happen. Is there like a rendering issue? Is there something like that triggers and sets the step to something else? Like I have no idea. I literally cannot figure out. And stuff like this, the stupid little thing probably is gonna take me 3 hours, 4 hours. Yeah, here we go. Love it. Today is like, I feel really, really bad. I don't know, like I've been here for a week and a half and I've made way less progress than I would have done if I was staying in Norway. And I'm just spending a lot of money and I'm having a great time and it's good. But like, this is not the time to be doing that. Like I have something to build and I'm really enjoying it here in Warsaw. It's so amazing to be with people that are hard workers and, building something. In everyday conversation, we're always talking about business. We're always, figuring out how we can improve, going to the gym, like just like-minded people. There's a balance to be found, right? Like there's a balance. You have to, do your social stuff, but also get the work in. And sometimes you just have to lock yourself away for like a month, week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, like depending on what you need to do. The work has to be done. Someone told me 1 year in your 20s is worth 10 years in your 40s. So you should be enjoying this time. You should be, going out, doing social things and creating memorable experiences with the people you love and the people you want to be around. I had a great job. I had a great trajectory of my career if I'd went, through the corporate ladder. But like doing that just felt wrong. It just felt like this is not where I belong. This is not the kind of person I want to be. I want to run these companies. I want to start these companies. I want to be the person that creates jobs, that hires people instead of, trying to get hired at different jobs and climbing the ladder and getting promotions and stuff. It just didn't feel like me. Now I'm here and yeah, I should be enjoying the journey, but it's at the same time, I think I'm like right now, I'm enjoying it too much. I'm just like, I love Warsaw. It's more so the people that's here. I was just thinking now, I don't know if it's the right time to be here. I genuinely think I should go back to Norway. All right, everybody, it's Saturday. I just had a business meeting with my 2 business partners on this project. I've been a bit overwhelmed the past few days. There's so much code that needs to be written. There's so much that needs to be done in terms of design as well. I think we need to work a bit faster on design. And at some point, it just essentially overwhelmed me. And I was like, okay, like I've been bad at communicating because I've felt like I have to do all this code and, have to make this documentary series of like how it is to actually, build these companies. And I had to assist the designs and like, there's so much that I've been doing. And I felt like, guys, like, where's the help? Like, I need some help, right? And we talked it out. We spoke about the next steps and we said, all right, this is what we're going to do. And from now on, we have to communicate with every tiny piece of discrepancy or something that is you feel off or something is wrong. Let's talk about it. But that's just the nature of business. There's going to be obstacles, there's going to be hurdles, and as a team, you're going to have to fight hurdles and obstacles and feelings together. Everybody has ideas, thoughts, perspectives. We all have different perspectives. We might have the same perspective. The common goal is we want this to succeed. And if we want it to succeed, we will treat it like our baby. We need to do whatever it takes in order to have this project survive, have our child survive. If any part of the founders are not fulfilling their mission, their goals, that is a conversation for then. You bring it up and you say, all right, here's where you might have been lacking or I might have been lacking or something, and you talk about it. If you never talk about things, it will never get better. And this applies to anything. It's not just business. This is family, friendship, love, whatever. Like it's universal. It applies to everything. Okay, so I did make a list here a few days ago. But really what I'm gonna try to finish off today is the configuration panel. Like I need to have that done today. Draft modes and stuff like that where you can change around things and it auto saves it. And then once you save it, it saves it just so you never lose, you know, in case your PC shuts down or something, you don't lose the work that you've done. The last part I have here is the segmentation page. So the segmentation page is mostly just a copy paste job. After those 4 things are done, the product is still not done. We need image uploading. We need to really test that all these rules are working. Felt like they were waiting on me to build this fast and then they can start their thing. And I was thinking yesterday, like I've been working on this for a month. Like where's the marketing page that we need? Like I was under the impression that this was like a known thing. Like, but in SaaS, it's very normal to have a marketing side out before you have a product. It's very common. But like these things, you have to communicate them because not everybody you're going to do business with are going to have the same understanding of everything as you. That's why communication is so important. Now we have some sort of a designer where I can click, for example, this text and change the text color to something else and add some margin like that. Now we did some margin and like there's all these kinds of styles that you can add. For example, you can rotate. Let's say on bigger devices, you don't want it to be rotated. Then what you could do is essentially set it to 0 on the bigger device. We should allow 0 in rotation, but now you see that it changed and the color here changes, meaning that you have essentially activated that style. And then we have an inspection tool that shows us all the styles for the different types of viewports. All right, good morning. It's Sunday and it's my last day. I'm checking out in like a few hours, but I'm gonna go down and have some breakfast and then check out and go to Bing's place and then just keep working, bro. I have so much to do. I have like, this weekend I've felt so overwhelmed over the past few days. Like it's kind of started to settle in how much I have to do. At this point, I've just been rinsing the same clothes. Like I'm like living on life support with the same clothes, but it's whatever. They recently got acquired by MailChimp. They're gonna probably discontinue Klaviyo support, and a bunch of their customers are Klaviyo users. So we're coming in building the exact same thing and just essentially supporting Klaviyo. So we're hoping to take basically their customers from that.
I just kind of, you had a very visual thing in mind.
Yeah, and that was the visual style. Yeah, I think Framer's site is really, really good. And if we just go for something like that, it's gonna be a good style. And they also heavily focus on templates. So it's literally perfect example to send. So we're gonna be working with a designer. We just have to fill out this whole questionnaire, 2 different documents, and we send it to them and they do all the designs in around a week's time. So we looked through their portfolio and saw a lot of great examples and thought this is probably someone that we want to work with. So now we've pulled the trigger. Always when like you're 80% done, it's the most difficult part to do the last 20%. It's just how it is. And Bink is just here, ultra locked in with the questionnaires while I am writing the code. That's how it should be, brother. Different level of locked in.